Okay. I'm going to start recording and welcome everyone. Today is the last day of this week, Monday. So thank you, Fatima, for the detailed meeting minutes yesterday. Now, it was very detailed. Thank you for taking all the notes. However, going forward, we don't have to get into too many details. Like, just understand, right? What we are capturing is the highlights of the meetings, just the highlights and the action items. And if there are any notes that needs to be presented, we will do that. Today I would like to assign someone senior who can kind of show you how it's done. Ashfaq, do you want to take responsibility if you're on?
Um, but if you need it to be a little bit more detailed, I think like another senior would be better.
Name one. Do you see anyone here?
Um,
No, I don't want too detailed. I want the highlights and the action items, basically. I don't see anyone from last batch. You know what? Hananbai is the right candidate. So Hananbai is going to take the ownership.
Yes, I'll take it.
Thank you. If you need help, you can reach out to Redwan or Shamim, but you should be fine, right?
Yes, thank you so much for it.
All right, cool. Ojiboy, are you on?
Yes, assalamu alaikum everyone.
What do you want to take a couple of minutes to recap yesterday's?
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Yes.
Let's spend 10 minutes on yesterday's topics, whatever we covered.
Okay. I don't have everything prepared. I'm just joining. So yesterday we covered SDLC, the complete SDLC, as well as we covered Agile.
Yeah.
Now inside Agile and Scrum. So I wanted to get the team's feedback on what they understand about Agile. If somebody can explain Agile really quickly, if somebody wants to go ahead.
So Agile, may I?
Yes, please.
So Agile is a model of SDLC that we follow, right? So that is what it is. There are waterfall, there is V-shape, there is Agile.
Yes, and what do you understand about Scrum? What is Scrum?
What I get about daily Scrum, I might be completely wrong, but what I get about daily Scrum is the daily meetings between the developers, designers, executives, and project Scrum masters who actually makes this project goes on in a flow and makes sees the update and the progress.
Okay. Your understanding is there, but we have to understand Scrum as a little differently. So Kadir explained it in a technical way. If I was to explain Scrum to make you make the team understand Scrum a little differently, I would say inside Agile, there's many ways of working in Agile, and Scrum is one of the main top ways that a lot of companies work. So when they say Scrums, in order for you to be working in Scrum, you have to first follow certain rules. Inside Scrum, your Scrum team has to be very limited, very small. And the way that your small team works is also related to that of how you work inside Scrum. So inside Scrum, you have to work with some artifacts. You have to do some ceremonies, and you have to work in sprints. So if you look at this diagram, inside there some keywords, and I hope you all noted some keywords there also. So inside Scrum, there are product backlog, sprint planning, sprint backlog, sprint, and the ceremonies, which is a sprint review, sprint retrospective, etc. So if I was to explain Scrum, let me see, how would I explain Scrum? Give me 1 second. I have the document here. I just gotta find it. Yeah. A Scrum is a framework for the workflow that the entire development team follows inside the construction iteration in Agile. So if I was to explain it in a few sentences, in Scrum, there are 3 key roles. The roles are product owner, Scrum Master, and the team. There are 3 key artifacts, which is the product backlog, sprint backlog, and burn down chart. There are 3 ceremonies, sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, and retrospective. So you notice I said 3. You can say sprint planning, sprint review, and retrospective, etc. But if you just limit it to 3 main, you can explain it that way. So if you're doing Scrum, you have to follow all of those. There's a product owner, Scrum Master, and the team. Those are very, very high level and very important for you to know and understand. There are artifacts. Artifacts are the items, let's say, like documentation or things, items that you work with. There's a product backlog, there's a sprint backlog, and there's a burn down chart. And then there are the 3 ceremonies. The ceremonies are something that you actually conduct inside Scrum, inside Agile Scrum. So the ceremonies are the meetings. There's a sprint planning meeting. There's a daily Scrum meeting that you do every day. There's a sprint review meeting and a sprint retrospective meeting. So this was all mentioned inside that video that everybody watched. Going forward, if you can make a short description of Scrum from that video that you watched, it will help you understand a little better of what Scrum is. You can also watch a few other videos related to Scrum, but they all touch mainly on these key areas. If you understand that part, you'll be able to explain Scrum in your interviews. So any questions related to that?
First of all, does everybody has access to this document from the shared drive?
Everybody should have access. I mean, it's posted there, right?
Yeah, some of the
Is it
folks.
possible you could send it again?
No, it's in
We
the shared
don't
drive.
send it.
I no need to send it. It's in the shared drive, right? There you have. Where is the shared drive? Shared drive right here, right? You go into the shared drive, and what happened here?
Otherwise, your screen is frozen.
Okay, I will show you. Give me 1 second. Don't create, guys, don't create a folder. Some of you are creating folders under my folder. Don't create your folders.
Keep them access as a viewer.
Oh, eventually I wanted to have them posting their documentations there. But regardless, guys, new share. Okay, so in shared drive, like you should have access to this ITS second batch 2020. Then there's 2 documents. There is Agile. When you click on Agile, you see this document, and it's important that you guys are able to find this. If you don't, then it's it's just a technical thing, right? But very simple. So I'm giving you the link here. The link is in the IT solutions description. IT solutions descriptions. You guys know like what I'm talking about, right? The group description has like all the links that let me just give you a screenshot of that. When you go to the group info, all these links are there, and you're gonna see the shared drive here. I'm going to send it in the group. Registration, payment, Agile, OneNote, everything is there. All you have to do, click on it. I'm going to share this in the group as well. All right. And I did share it in the group. Good. If you don't have access to the shared drive, let me know. It should be there. All right, let's start, guys. Let's start. Okay, so some of you submitted or given you 5 keywords and some of you didn't. So let me pick on the ones who didn't submitted the keywords. Now, let me see, what are the keywords? Scrum, product, backlog. So what is your understanding of product backlog? We ask Ifat, what is your understanding of product backlog?
I have to go through the stuff again because I really don't understand.
Okay, that's fine. No, you know, no big deal. I still need to I still need to explain, you know. That's fine. So let's go over that. I think it would be unfair to talk about something that I have not covered. I thought from the videos you guys probably picked it up, but let's go through that. So now let me go through share again. I share this. Okay, so some of the notes from the video, and I picked out some of the keywords myself as well. So I have Scrum, product owner, Scrum master, developers, testers, user story, product backlog, sprint, burn down chart, estimates, daily Scrum meetings, sprint planning meeting, spring retro meeting. Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about each one of them. Scrum. First of all, we know Scrum. What is a Scrum? Scrum is a model. Raju was talking about it just now. It's a framework. It's the way the entire team works within that construction iteration of Agile. Yesterday, I showed you guys the construction iteration. It's how you work. It's the framework, the model that you follow within that construction iteration is Scrum, nothing but that, right? It's very simple. Then come product owner. What is product owner? These are all Agile terminology. So Agile is new, so they're fancy, so they have their own wording. Product owners are nothing but clients, business owner, things in those nature. Stakeholder, same thing. You're gonna hear these words when it comes to product owner. Scrum Master is nothing but a project manager or the manager for that Scrum team. And I talked about Scrum team yesterday. So Scrum team usually between, I don't want to say 5, because if it's 5, it's a very small Scrum team. A standard Scrum team is usually 7 people. A standard Scrum team has 7 people, and if it's, like I said yesterday, if it's less than 5 or if it's more than 5, then we don't consider it as a Scrum or Agile. It's a different methodology. Then someone had hands raised. Do you have any questions?
Yes, it was me. Like, question to you guys. The doc, like Kadir by sharing, like, is it you guys able to see the notes like clearly?
Is it big enough, basically, right?
I'm able to view it.
1 second.
I have no issues viewing it.
No, the other
Yeah.
people.
No issues.
I do
So
meet
you are-
and
what
I
about the
can see
rest?
clearly.
What about the rest, guys? The doc, is it clear to you? Can you guys see?
It was
Okay.
very small
Yes.
earlier. Right now it's
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
If
it's
it is
pretty
not,
clear.
let me tell you guys, if something is not clear to you, ask them, like ask your manager, like when you're in real life working, you need to ask. So now it's clear. It wasn't clear before. For some of them, it was clear. So just do the practice from here. In your real life, if you see, if in the meeting, if you see something is clear not to you, you are not understanding, you should ask. Okay, you can
Thank you.
continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaman, for
I
pointing
have
this
a
out.
question.
Yeah.
So you said like 7 people, like a standard team can be in like 7 people, right? And
Uh-huh.
then you said less than or more than 5. We don't consider that as an agile team.
Yeah.
So I'm confused here. If it's like less, you said less or more than 5, but
No, no,
7.
no, no. No, less than 5 or more than 11.
Oh, more than 11.
Yeah.
Less than 5.
Yeah.
More than 11. Thanks.
Yeah. Welcome. Again, like I said yesterday, every company is trying to follow Agile and Scrum, but it's not easy. So usually when you go to work, you're going to see hybrid model. What it means is they're trying to follow Scrum or Agile, but they're not able to. So they're going to like mix and match. So don't be surprised when you go and see it in the real environment. What I'm teaching, I have to teach you the right thing, and this is what I'm doing here. Even my company, I think I was showing you guys yesterday about 8 teams, and you can see each team looks different, and each team has different shape and form. So you can see it right there. I don't need to give you more examples. Anyway, so let's learn the right thing. So product owner, we know Scrum Master is a project manager, and usually this one person is going to be responsible for multiple teams. So yeah, so project manager is a Scrum Master, and developers are developers, QA, we know, testers, user story. The main things are user story. So user stories are nothing but the requirement, user requirement. It's usually in Agile, it's a very small requirements like we talked about yesterday. Every functionality that you see in an application is just mini or small requirement. So in Agile, we don't call it as a requirement, we call it as a user story. Product backlog. Product backlog is collection of user story. Usually, this is where all the stories are saved, meaning the application I was showing you yesterday, if you had to guess how many user story can we come up with that application, anyone has any guesses? You guys remember the application I was showing you yesterday? Let me pull it again.
Sorry, what was the question again?
Skill tag or something?
Yeah, I'm going to show you right now.
Mm.
So this application I was talking about, right? Take a look at this application, and what do you think? How many user stories can we come up with this for this application?
More than 200?
Yeah. So yeah, that's a rough estimate. Good.
That's what you said yesterday, I remember.
Good. That's good. That's good. Yeah, that's a rough estimate. And so all of these 200 user stories are going to be saved in one place, and that place would be called product backlog, meaning all the user stories are saved in one place, whether if it's a tool or a shared drive or Excel sheet, whatever it is, collection of those user stories are called product backlog. Does it make sense? If you look at this naming, right? Product, what is product? Product is the application. And we are talking about backlog. So basically product item is saved in a backlog. It's called product backlog in a simple way. Now, moving into sprint backlog. So we understand product backlog. Product backlog is everything that we have for that application. Yes, sister, you have a question?
Yes, on the video, I got that there is a release backlog, which is a prioritized set of user stories before going to sprint backlog.
Sprint and release backlog are the same thing. No difference. Usually standard way of calling it sprint backlog. Some company may call it release backlog, but let's stick to the standard sprint backlog, basically. So if we understand product backlog, then we have sprint backlog. Sprint backlog is a list of tasks identified by the Scrum team to be completed during Scrum sprint. So before understanding sprint backlog, let's understand sprint. So what is a sprint? Sprint is a time frame. So it could be a week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks. So basically, first we have to define sprint. So every company, it varies company to company. Standard way of working is 2 weeks of a sprint. So most of the companies, they follow 2 weeks sprint. So within this 2 week, they're going to say from that product backlog that we have, what is product backlog? All the user stories, all the requirements, right? From there, we're going to say we defined our sprint as 2 weeks. Within this 2 weeks, I can finish such amount of product backlog items, which mean we can pick like 10 user stories from that. And when we select those 10 items, we put them in a separate backlog and we call it as a sprint backlog, meaning within this sprint, we're going to finish this 10 item. Does it make sense or did I confuse you?
This makes sense.
Makes sense, right? Anyone is still confused about sprint backlog, product backlog, or sprint? Don't be shy, it's agile, you know. I did not understand this for 3 weeks.
Adil
So
bhai,
sorry.
Oh, okay. Assalamualaikum.
So, people, how are you?
Good morning. Can I add something from
Please.
my experience? There's a little bit something, you know, as you said that different company follow different standards, obviously, and from that point, I have a little different understanding between sprint backlog and release backlog. You know, some company they do you know, releases after like, you know, spending two sprint or more than 2 sprint, right? So so they actually, you know, from the product backlog, they separate the release backlog items, and from the release backlog, they're like, you know, they separate their sprint backlog items.
I completely know that, but we don't want to go through this now because
Okay.
that's more of an advanced stuff, and that's not the best practice. And agile product backlog, sprint backlog. Once the sprint backlog is done, we just release it. But some companies they like to hold it, and they
It makes sense. Go ahead. Yeah.
But thank you for bringing it up. This is more of an advanced level. They will understand it once they know these basics. And it's not mandatory to know. So what it is basically, we have product backlog, we have sprint backlog. So ideally, once sprint backlog is completed, you just push it to the production and go get another sprint worth of work. But some companies, they then create another backlog, which calls release backlog. And they keep item there until they feel like, okay, maybe they'll combine a couple of sprint or 1.5 sprint, things in those nature, and then push it to the production from that release backlog. But that's something we're going to come to later. But for now, just understand product backlog and sprint backlog and sprint. We'll talk about it more. I'm going to move on and talk about rest of the things. And physically, we will show you what a product backlog looks like, what a sprint backlog looks like, and what sprint is. And we're going to be working in those different phases, practicing physically. So it's going to be very, very clear once we're done with this. But for now, most of you are going to be confused, which is perfectly fine. Moving on to burn down charts. The burn down chart basically shows you progress of the work. So let's say you have made commitment, you committed to do something to finish in 2 weeks. So day 1 is going to show you like entire backlog item, and the last day, which would be the 10th day, it should show you nothing, right? Every single task should be done. So if you want to look at it, burn down chart, this is how it looks like, right? So you start on 0th day, you can see right here, you have 30 items, and the end of 20th day. So here they're doing 5, 10, 4 weeks sprint. So they have like 20 days. Basically, they're doing a 4-week sprint. So you can see on the 0th day, you have 30 tasks, and the last day you have zero tasks. So that's burn down chart, starting from the top to the bottom, and it shows you the progress. So red line is your actual work, and the other one is the expectation of your work. It's showing the progress of it. All right. So estimates. So this is a big topic. So estimate, and we will do physical estimate. So what is estimate? So you go through each of the user story and you estimate your work. You kind of estimate it to see how much time it will take for you to complete each of the user story. And again, user story is the requirement, right? So how much time it will take for you to do your testing. And I'm not going to go into detail what we mean by testing, because there are STLC process, right, which we have not covered. So I'm not going to go into the details. So just understand, when it comes to estimation, you estimate your work, your entire work. And we will do it as we move forward with it. Daily Scrum meeting. So daily Scrum meeting, usually 15 to 30 minutes. Standard is 15 minutes. Right. So you have 7 people in your team. Everybody on a real agile environment, you should be there physically, and it's called daily stand-up. So everybody would be going in a corner or in a room, standing up, and there would be a blackboard, and they would be giving their statuses. But now things are changing, is all on the meeting, Zoom meeting, right? So we will have a board, either if it's Agile or Monday or Asana or TFS, any kind of tool. You'll have a board there. Within that board, you will provide your daily status. And what do you talk about in that? Let me just show you guys quickly. Interesting way of doing it, right? So daily stand-up is where you have your board there, and you're going to talk about what you're working on. What you worked on yesterday, what are you going to work on today, and if you are facing any issues, blocker or anything. So while we're at the daily Scrum meeting, let me show you how a board looks like, so you can see it physically. Give me 1 second. All right. So can you guys see this?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Look into it. I'll give you a couple of minutes and then I'll explain. Is Kobe Mama there today? Or
Yes, I'm here.
yes, Mama, I need you in the class. Sometimes I have hard time finding you.
Sorry for the late. Now on I will be available, inshallah.
No, it's good. No, because I'm showing something that might interest you. That's why I was trying to call you. All right, so let me explain this. So I have all of the tabs you're seeing, like I'm responsible for multiple teams. So this is one of the teams, Senior Cats, Sprint 3. What is Sprint 3 means? Oh, let's go back. Since I pulled this, let me show you guys more things. So backlog. So what is this? I have the backlog item here. You see all of my tasks, all of my stories, all of my tickets, all of my requirements are here. This is my backlog, the entire backlog, product backlog. You see right here, it says backlog. These are all of my backlog. Entire backlog item is sitting here. So now, remember we talked about product backlog. It's nothing but the entire list of tickets or the requirement, right? And then I have my sprint. So from this entire backlog, we have separated this item, right? You guys see sprint 3, right? So you know, guys, sprint 3. This 14 item we have estimated. We said, look at the time frame. Look at the time frame, guys. Started 25th May 2020, ending June 8th. So that's 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, so our sprints are 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we said we're going to complete all of these tasks, right? These are the user stories. So this is our sprint. This is our sprint. Let me show you guys to make it more clear. So you guys can relate to this. So product backlog, let me highlight this so you understand. So this is from here. You see the backlog item, 37 issues. These are product backlog item, right? And then let's move to sprint. Let me show you what is sprint.
Oh, you highlighted product owner instead of product backlog.
And Raju, you're good. Okay, so sprint, moving on to sprint. Where is sprint? So what is sprint? This time frame, nothing more than that. You see the time frame, guys? Please ask questions if you guys have any questions. This is something you're seeing in a real project. Nothing can replace it. This is my real project. They'll fire me if they find out I'm doing this, but it's okay. It's worth the risk. Okay, so this is sprint, the time frame, nothing more than that, right? Active sprint. So if I click on this active sprint, this is the active sprint. This is the sprint board. How many days remaining? 1 day. Tomorrow our sprint ends. Today is Monday. Tomorrow is Tuesday. Yeah, tomorrow our sprint ends. What is the next? User stories, right? Let's talk about user stories. So the user stories, you're seeing it, right? All of these are, you see right here, story. These are user stories. How does a user story look like? So he's saying add a site navbar to general layout of the pages, acceptance criteria. This is written in Cucumber format. These are too technical. I don't want to talk about it right now. So user story, usually this is not the best format. I've been trying to teach them, but for some reason they're not learning. Let me see if there is a better one. So this one is much better. You know, it has good description. It's talking about, like, you know, what are the things we need to do. There is a direct link to the functionality. I can have a look at it. There should be Figma design here. Figma design is a design document, basically. And this is a conference page. What conference page is like a page, is like a shared drive where the documentations are, oh, this is perfect. Remember, guys, we talked about in SDLC CM library. You guys remember that?
Yes.
Documentation, right?
Yeah,
So
configuration. Yeah.
Yes, this is where we save our documentation. You see, all of this documentation is sitting here, right? Every single documentation, you can see anything you want to see or know is sitting here. I know by end of this class, you guys gonna be like, it's too much, but hang in there. This is absolutely nothing. When we do it here in this class, you're gonna be like, it's easy, it's a piece of cake. All right, I'm gonna find a very good user story template and show it to you guys. But for now, all right, so user story I showed you, product backlog I show you, sprint I show you. Sprint backlog is, I already showed you, but let me just show you again. So under the backlog, we have separated this, how many, 14 issues for this sprint. This is called sprint backlog. It's right here. Live example, guys. Unfortunately, burn down chart, I don't have to show you. Estimate, we have to do the estimate. However, let me show you. You see the numbers right here? 1, 2, 2, 8, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 4. Do you guys see the numbers?
Yes.
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 These are the estimates. So we have identified each of the story based on their size. What I mean by that is, let's move on to the story point sizing. There is a concept called story point sizing. What it means that when you have user stories written, now you want to size them based on the size, right? Small, medium, large is a concept called t-shirt sizing, right? T-shirts are usually small, medium, large, extra large. Now, based on that, based on the amount of work, we size those stories, right? So if I see a simple user story, user should be able to navigate to that application. Yes, that is small. It's 1 to 3. So from anything that you feel 1 to 3 is small. But the numbers from 5 to 8 are medium. 13 to 20 are large and extra large. You will never see extra large. We would break it down into a smaller story. You don't even you probably won't see large. You'll be dealing with like numbers between 1 through 8. Rarely you will see 10 and things in those nature. So these are nothing but hours, amount of hours that would take for you to complete a job. Now, in an agile, right, when it comes to estimation, in a real job, right, you be required to work 9 hours, right? However, your productive hours are usually standard is 6 hours. No one will count any more than 6 hours as your productive hours. And why is that? Because when we're working, we cannot be productive more than 6 hours, period. If anyone is productive more than 6 hours a day, I gotta give it to him. It's not possible because there are distractions, there are meetings. All I do meetings, right? So when you're a lead or a manager, you just do meetings, you don't do physical work. But when you're a QA engineer, you'll be doing a lot of work. So I'm talking about a QA person. Your productive hours are maximum 6 hours. So when I say a small user story, small size, I'm saying that I can finish this story within an hour or between an hour or 3. This is why I'm sizing this story as small. Now, next one, if I identify as medium, which means I feel that I could finish this story within a day, which is medium. When it comes to large, we are looking at 2 to 3 days. When it comes to extra large, we are not doing no extra large in Agile. We are going to break it down and make it into 2, 3 medium or small. Yeah, someone had a hand raise.
I have a question. Those 6 are we called like a story point or something?
No, this is part of the estimation. We hang in there, you'll understand more. Story point is the user story. How much time it will take you to finish that user story is what the number we present. Does it make sense?
Yep.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
So when we're making the estimates, are we using the help of the Scrum Master, or is it like I'm just coming up with a number like this? It's going to take me this much for this task.
Scrum Master doesn't know how much time it's going to take you to do your job. It's your job to tell them, hey, it's going to take me 8 hours to complete this job. And they have to agree with it. They have no other way. They could question it. Let's say developer said is going to take them 1 hour to complete, and you're saying 8. So now we have huge discrepancies, right?
Yeah.
Now he's going to ask you, why would it take you 8 hours? And you explain why you think it's 8 hours, and he can explain why he feels he only need 1 hour. So there are situations where like they could build something which will take more time to test versus them to build. So there are some scenarios, but usually it doesn't differ like this. Yeah. All right, so I was showing you guys something, and then we moved. All right, so I was showing you guys estimates, right? So this is what we are talking about, and we'll spend more time on estimates. Actually, let's spend more time on estimates. So what is estimate? We talked about it, right? The amount of time it will take you to complete a task, and you put that in your Jira board. Where is my Jira? Where's my Jira? Okay. So when you go let me open this ticket. Oh, yeah, you see, user story point. So here collectively, we will have a sprint planning meeting. We'll have sprint planning meeting. Within that sprint planning meeting, and you and I will do it here. And I am buying a tool. We're going to do it using an actual tool that we use in our work. So, there's at least 3 to 4 tools that I need to buy. And that's why, I'm pushing you guys for the commitment so I know how many to buy. Yeah. So there's what did I mention? So we will do sprint planning meeting. Prior to that, we will do sprint backlog grooming meeting. So what is backlog grooming meeting? When you go to product backlog, this is your product backlog, all the stories there, right? This is your product backlog. Within that product backlog, your project manager is gonna call a meeting and they're going to say, we're going to do a product grooming meeting. Now, what it means is every single story we're going to go through, and usually not every single. In a meeting, we probably pick like 10 user stories and we're going to groom them, meaning we're going to finish them, make sure.
You're cutting off.
I hear you clearly.
Yeah.
Anybody else notice cutting off?
Yeah, it's clear.
No, it's clear.
No,
I guess it's me.
Yeah, I have strong internet. Okay, thank you. Anyway, so please take note, feel free to take note, or you have the video to refer to. So we're talking about backlog grooming, right? And backlog grooming happens at the early stage. So when we talk about product backlog, we're talking about everything. And when everything gets written here, usually what we see, not all the requirements or user stories are fully complete. So your project manager, they usually call a meeting and they do the grooming. And within the grooming session, what we do is we go through each of the user story, make sure that everything is completed. We understand the work. If there's any pending item, we talk about it and we complete those user stories. We as a group, they would talk through it. We had a grooming session today as well, and it was 45 minutes long. I had no input. I was just doing something else. And,
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
So I see everything is in validate and verify format. So this is V model?
No. Ignore what it says there. No.
Oh, okay.
V model, you're going to see a lot of verify and validate here. That doesn't mean you're working on V model. Ignore what's there right now in terms of the wording. It's just a template, copy and paste, nothing more than that. Don't pay attention to it too much.
Okay.
Validate customer can find. Yeah, no, this is just simple requirements that I picked out to show you guys. So yeah, from testing point of view, in a backlog grooming session, we don't really need to provide too much inputs. Like I said, I was on a 45 minutes call and they were talking and I was bored. I was doing something else. At some point they were like, oh, do you have any input? I was like, no, I'm good, carry on. So this is the only thing I said in the meeting. So just so you understand about backlog grooming, I brought it up. Moving on to something else. Notes. Daily Scrum meeting. So we were talking about daily Scrum meeting. Daily Scrum meeting. Let's talk about daily Scrum meeting. Let me show you the Scrum board, right? So we would be here, active sprint, right? And if you look at the active sprint, you see all the stories. So there are different statuses: to do, blocked, in progress, in review, ready for QA, in QA, ready for PO review, meaning product owner review, and done. Now, when you go to work, your statuses could be different based on your company, how they want to work. Every company design their workflow. Let me show you how workflow looks like. Let me open a ticket so I can show you. So you see workflow right here. So our company, and this is configurable, in Jira you can configure it. So you have draft, to develop, backlog, code review, and so on. You can see the workflow right here. This is how actually I designed it. Yeah. So now going back to the daily Scrum meeting, we will be here in this board, right? We're going to talk about, so these are the developers, right? You can see these are and these are my testers, Sham and Tahmid. And I'm not, oh, I'm here. I do work. Okay, so Adil Khan is one of the developer. He worked on this one. So when I run this meeting, usually sometimes I run this meeting, so I will just say like, Adil Khan, can you provide your update? So he's going to say, hey, I worked in this ticket yesterday, and if he had any challenges, he would say it. If not, he would be like, okay, it is ready for peer review. So done. He's pretty much done. This guy, Arstan, so he pushed these 2 tickets to QA. So he's probably going to say, hey, yesterday I completed these 2 tickets, and now today I'm going to work on this one to do. Guys, you're able to see my mouse movement, right?
Yes.
Cool. Moving to Natalia. So Natalia, she would be like, so I finished these 2 tickets, so I'm done, and I don't have any pending items. So she might say, since tomorrow is our sprint ending, she might say, I'm probably helping another guy to finish their task. Right? And then we have Sham. Sham has nothing going on. So he finished one of this ticket, and he's going to be saying that, oh, I'm going to pick up something. So he's a QA. So usually he's not developing anything. So let's see Tahmid. So Tahmid is working on this one, ticket assigned to him. So he's going to say, I'm working on this. Not sure if any pending. And you see how many bugs he logged against this user story. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he logged 5 bugs, 7 bugs there. He wrote 1, 2, 3 test cases. Each test case has multiple scenarios. I'll show you guys later. I don't want to confuse you. It's too much information right now. And I don't want to give you guys all this information right now. I think half of you after this class, you're going to be like, oh, this is not for me. I'm done. It's easy. I'm just putting too much information on the plate, but we will do it physically. So once we do it, it's very, very easy. I probably don't have any. I have something. No, this is Tahmid. Yeah, I don't have anything. So, so this is my daily stand-up, and that's how we run daily stand-up. Any questions, guys? This is another team daily stand-up. Again, I don't have anything. Adil Khan, 1 ticket.
Adil bhai.
Yeah.
You work with everyone like together in this like to-dos and tickets, like developers and everyone works together. This is a sprint itself, right?
Mm-hmm. So this is Agile, this is Scrum. You see, 5, 6 of us working together.
Whatever we saw in the video, this is the physical
Yep.
copy of it.
Yep. This is what you do, right? If you are in a real work, you would be physically sitting next to each other, but here we are virtually in a board and working with each other, right? That's what it's representing here.
So if anyone was to like, you said how like some of the testers, they're gonna finish their work and then they're gonna help someone else out. So how would they end up helping that person? Like they come in communication with them and then they just like divide the work that they have, or like how?
So we have like each team has let me show you. So this is Tabasco, this is Senior Cat. Senior Cat is, so we have like so let's say that soda team, right? So we have a group chat here. So we communicate. We're going to be like, we have another, like so many groups, depending on which work we're doing. So we're going to say, there was one day I was working. So I'm going to show you how we communicate. Okay, So there's, I think this first time the whole entire year I did like physical work. We were behind. So I said, we started here. So I said, guys, let's do a quick call. So they're like, yes. So then after the call, we decided, I said, I'm going to take this task. It's like, okay. And then he said, okay, I'm going to work on this one. So 15, 20, 30 minutes later, I said, I'm done with that one. I'm picking up this one. They're like, okay. This is QA only, QA communication. This is core QA group. So we're communicating. So usually you have this kind of channels you're communicating. First thing you do, assign that ticket to yourself. Like, let's say, so this is in QA. Let me see. So let me assign this to, I should assign this to one of my QA guys. So I'm going to assign it to Sham. So now he's going to work on this. And if he's done with this, he's going to push it to ready for PO review. And this is the product owner, they review it, right? And then tomorrow morning, I'm expecting at least 3 or 4 tickets to be part of QA, ready for QA. So from here, we're going to pick it up. And usually I do that and assign it to my QA guys. And if I see they have like 5, 6 tickets, this is when I jump in and start helping. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take this ticket. You take that one. Things in those nature. Does it make sense?
Oh, okay. So like, it's not like 2 or 3 person are working. 2 people are working in one ticket. It's like if they have like 2, 3 tickets left, they divide the tickets, not the amount of work per ticket.
Sorry, Ashok, can you repeat that? I
So, yeah. So I'm trying to say like, if a person has like 2, 3 tickets left, they just divide the tickets, as in like, I'll work in one ticket, you work in another ticket, and then we get the work done. It's not like they divide one ticket for 2 people to work on, as in I have 1 ticket left, so I do this much work of the ticket and you do this much of it.
You can, if the ticket is big enough, we can have multiple people working on it. And it totally depends. Like, depends how tight your group is, how they understand each other, how.
So it's all based on communication. If they have a strong communication, they can actually work in one ticket and get it done
You see
together.
this one is very, very small ticket, right? It should be done 1, 2, 3. But I can give you some example of tickets that are bigger. So this is a bigger ticket. This is a bigger ticket, and it takes, I think, yeah, usually one person will work on it, but I would review it just to make sure that they covered each and every scenario. And my review will start from test cases. I'll start looking at the test cases to see if they covered it.
Oh, okay, I got it. Thank you.
Cool. Any questions on the daily stand-up?
No, Kadir bhai.
Cool, thank you. Now moving on to sprint planning meeting. So I should have done that before, but let's talk about sprint planning meeting. How do you plan? How do you plan your sprint? That is a very good question. Actually, let me show you, instead of here, let me show you in my backlog. So how do we plan our sprint? So we come here into the backlog. So we have a sprint planning meeting. So my sprint is ending tomorrow, right? So end of the day tomorrow, our sprint is ending, and then we're gonna have a call tomorrow, and we're gonna do a sprint planning meeting. I should have it already in my calendar. So we're gonna do a sprint planning meeting, and in sprint planning, so tomorrow, by tomorrow, this 14 tasks would be done. This 14 tasks that you're seeing right now, all of this would be done, and they're gonna be removed from this backlog. Once they're in done or completed or closed status, they won't be appearing here. It's configured in a way that it don't show. So pretend there is nothing to here, right? So we're going to start from the backlog. And from this backlog, we're going to start planning our sprint. And how will we do that? We're going to come here and do our story sizing and estimating. And how do we do that? We're going to go through each of the ticket, understand it, and we're going to put our the number that we talked about, the sizing of that story. Now we will only take the amount of work that we could complete within that 2 weeks based on our capacity. And what is the capacity? So QA capacity is so number of QA working in this sprint and the number of hours they have that they could handle basically. So what I mean by that is, so we have two QAs, right? We have Tamid and Sham. So each one of them are working, let's say 5 days a week, and next sprint, which is 2 weeks, they do not have any vacation or days off, right? So now if you look at each person, they have 30 hours, right, per week. So 30 hours meaning 6 hours productive and five days a week. So that's 30, and times 2 is 60. And then when you multiply it by 2 weeks, right, 2 weeks, which is 10 days, right? So it's 120 hours productive that we have. So we can only take, we can say, right, so we have, from QA point of view, we have 120 productive hours, and within that 120 productive hours, whatever the work that we can take on, and that's the only amount of work we will take from here, considering that no one is going on vacation, and also no one is involved in any other project. If those two resources are full-time, in our cases is not, that's why you're seeing we only took like, how many story point? 1 2 3 4 5 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 25 story point, because we're involved in 8 other teams. So our capacity is not that much. So basically you would be only taking the amount of work that you have capacity to complete. Does this make sense, or should I go and try to explain more?
More, please.
Ajay, can you help me out?
Sorry, yes. So we're talking about I'm sorry, can you just go high level?
We're talking about estimating work for the sprint.
Oh, yes. So estimating the work for the sprint, obviously you're going to have QA, you're going to have developers, you're going to have front-end developers, you're going to have back-end developers, and they're going to have to complete some sort of work. So everybody is going to give their number, like how much time they need to complete each task. So if you were to break it down to, let's say, basic type of item that is not related to software development, let's just say your work item that you have to complete is go shopping for groceries. Now you have 2 members in your team. Let's say a husband and wife go shopping. So how much time would they need? Usually grocery shopping that you do on a Sunday, let's say you need to do grocery shopping for 2 weeks. So you already know how much time you need for grocery shopping. So you would say, let's take out 2 hours of the day and let's go to the supermarket, and I'm going to do what you call it, household shopping, and you can do the grocery shopping. And one person needs 1 hour and another person needs another hour. So those 2 hours is allocated just for grocery shopping. Now you have another task. The other task is for laundry. When you do your laundry, how long does it take? Let's say it takes an hour and a half. So one person in the team is going to say, okay, for me to do laundry, I'm going to need hour and a half. Basically, just like that, you're going to estimate how much time you're going to need. Now, this is related to one person doing it. If you have multiple people doing the same type of activities, you can break it down. You can say, okay, let's say, just like how you broke down grocery shopping. Yes, it takes 2 hours for one person, but if two people are doing it, it takes 1 hour and 1 hour, which is still 2 hours, but it's broken down into two people. Now, QA would also have to do estimation. They will also have to estimate how much time they need to, they would need to verify that completed task. Now QA would also give their estimation on that item. So in total, everybody is going to give an estimation of how much time you need for that specific item, and everybody agrees on a set number. If somebody disagrees, they're going to point out, okay, you said you only need 2 hours to do this, but I think you will need a little more, and you're going to provide your reasons, and you're going to say, let's just make it 4 hours. Let's make it double so we don't underestimate. And you can also give a lower number. You say, hey, this does not seem like that big of a task. I think we can do it. We can cut it down to 1 hour. There's no need to make it that complex. I think it's pretty straightforward. You just give a number of how much time you need to complete a task. I hope that explains it, and me explaining it in a different analogy hopefully makes it more understandable.
Yeah, it was very good. Thank you, Rajibhai. And I got a good example here as well. So guys, again, I'm repeating this, that we're going to be when we do it physically, it's easier, but explaining is harder. So we're going to go step by step. Now, let me show you how to estimate here. So we have, so look at this story points that we already have sized. You can see we already sized this from the product backlog. We size all of this story point with number, right? First, so there is two level of so first we size the story, and then we provide the estimate by hours. So this is like we identify them which category they fall under, small, medium, or large, and then we put the respective numbers. Now here we have done it, right? We have added all the estimation here. Now from this entire list, we're going to pick the ones, the highest priority functionality that we should fix. We're going to pick, right? Oh, this user story is the highest priority. We should prioritize this one first. So we're going to come in here. We're going to grab this, and we're going to come into our sprint, and this is our sprint level details. And remember, we have identified that our sprint is 2 weeks. 2 weeks long only, right? And in our sprint, let's say we only have one QA, 2 weeks sprint. We have only one QA, and he doesn't have vacation time. So he has 60 hours worth of the capacity. Now from these 60 hours, we're only going to grab the 60 hours worth of work from that product backlog. So if I go here, based on the priority, we're gonna pick one. We're gonna pick from here 1, 2, whatever. Let's say they're organized based on the priority from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Once we hit the 60 hours, I'll be like, stop guys, that's it. That's all work I can do this week, this sprint. I cannot do more. That's it. That's when everybody has to agree, and they'll be like, yes, sir, done. Now, this was practical. Does this make sense? How we estimate our sprint? Again, these are the numbers we added against all our user stories. And if we combine them, the number would be 506 hours, right? Can we finish 506 hours worth of work in one sprint?
No.
No.
How many hours of work can we finish in one sprint?
60 hours.
And what do? You only pick 60 hours worth of work from here, right? From product backlog, you move it to sprint backlog. And that's your estimation, nothing more than that. Does it make sense? That's your sprint pretty much planning. Come on, guys, speak. Otherwise, I wouldn't know that you understand. So we were talking about sprint planning. So this is your sprint planning. You have sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3. So each sprint are two weeks long. And within each sprint, you can only take 60 hours worth of work. You will not estimate each and every sprint together. You only estimate the sprint you're working on. Let me take you back to my board. This is my backlog. And tomorrow we will come in. First section, active sprint will be gone. There won't be an active sprint, that will be closed. And I'm going to come in here. I'm going to say, okay, we have 30 hours of capacity this week, this sprint, and we will only take the stories that combine, all of the stories that combines 30 hours of work. That is your sprint planning. What happened, guys?
Got it, Kadir bhai.
Who does not get it? That's the question. Anybody has questions?
But I think it will be a little confusing for like some people, but like once we start working on the project, like the
Yeah.
project actually helps out a lot on understanding a sprint and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think if we start the project later on, then they'll slowly understand like what a sprint is and like how Scrum works.
Yeah, so that's why, like I always say, if you're in the class, you must do the project with us. If you don't do it, you're going to fail. And we had the example the last batch. Those who finished that project successfully, they went and got the job. And because it's become so clear, because you're going to be doing each and everything that you're seeing here. We're going to do it as a team. And it's so simple. But when someone's trying to explain to you, you're going to be confused. And trust me, we work very hard. I work very hard to bring you the easier explanation, easier wording, easier explanation. These things, 4 or 5 weeks worth of work. Trust me when I say that. If you are part of any Agile, any QA, you would be spending 4 weeks in SDLC, 4 weeks in this. It takes time, but I try to bring forward the best materials and explain easily. And I do take pride in it. I feel that because I was part of this and I know like how confused I would be going out of this, but this is, I believe we do a good job to explain. Anyway.
Yes.
Thank you for agreeing, brother.
Okay.
Spring retro, that's another thing. And let's talk about sprint retro. I cannot say the full word, that's why I have shortened it. I always say retro. When I try to do the whole word, I get confused. I start stuttering, so I don't say it.
Hey, sprint retro is like sprint review, same thing?
Sprint review, yeah. So every end of the sprint, you'll have the retro meeting. And what do you do there? You talk about as a group collectively what went well, what didn't, and what are the suggestions, takeaways, improvements, things in those nature. Let me see if I have a retro board here. We just had the retro not too long ago. Yeah, here you go. Sprint retro, sprint retro. Give me 1 second. Yeah. So we use this tool called Easy Retro, where we, as a team, post. You can see, you guys can see like what went well, to improve, action items. Hey, don't move. Can you see that?
But can you zoom in a little bit? Possible? Thank you.
Yeah. So this is the tool we use, Easy Retro, where after the sprint, we talk about as a collective group that we talk about what went well, right? And you can always post it anonymous. If you feel like you want to put your name, that's fine too, because sometimes people, if they want to say something negative and they feel that if it somebody might get offended, they might just not put their name, and it's fine regardless, whatever, right? You know, you can put your name, you don't need to put your name. It's the idea behind is to know as a collective group what we have done well, what we didn't, how can we improve, right? So things went well. The team was able to deliver Sheila list, completed the sprint goal. Every sprint has a sprint goal, so we have completed that. Team has delivered the plan stories as well. Nice collaboration between dev and FDS team, good communication. So we're saying all of these went well. Things did not to improve. The things did not went well. I think I said a couple of things. Let me see which one I said. What did I say? Anyway, ignore it. I have noticed that we are getting a lot of questions about design things. Now, ignore it. I said a couple of things. I like development reviews. Yeah. Anyway, so this is what we're talking about. I cannot explain these things because you don't understand that product. You're not in that team. So it's not relevant for me to explain this to you. But we're talking about improving the process here. And these are the action item we talked about. And yeah, one of the main thing was like, we said like we must finish our daily stand-up meeting in 15 minutes. Design related questions, you know, these are the folks should be there.
Kadir bhai,
yeah,
can I ask you a question?
Please.
If it's related, what is the difference between a sprint review and sprint retro?
Sprint review and sprint retro, same thing, brother. So end of the sprint, you are reviewing your sprint to make sure that sorry, hold on. Sprint review call. So there is a sprint review call where at the end of the sprint, we have a call where, and again, guys, Agile has so many different ceremonies. Not everybody follows all of them. And we, in my company, we're trying. Not every team is doing, but we're trying. So sprint review at the end of the sprint, let me show you, let me give you live example is always better. Okay. So this is my active sprint senior cat. Okay, so in the sprint review, so tomorrow we'll have a call where all the PO review tickets should be lined up here. So everything we finish, it should be lining up here. Some reason somebody moved 2 user stories to done, which they should not. Everything should be here in PO review. Tomorrow we'll have a call with product owner and we're gonna demo this to them. We're gonna say, hey, this is sprint review call. Let's get on a call and we're gonna demo you the work we've completed and they will accept it or reject it. So based on our call tomorrow, they should decide, should they accept this ticket or should they not accept this ticket? That's sprint review in a nutshell, right? Once you're done with developing each functions and test it, you put them in sprint ready for PO review status, and that's where at the end of the sprint you have your product owner on the call and you demo it to him or her to review and they will accept or reject it. That's sprint review. And retro is it's a level of review as well, but more on the technical side, you know, what went well, what didn't, in a team wise, you know, how is the communication, is there any gap, improvement, action items that I showed you guys that just a few minutes back. Right. Like
Kadir bhai,
yeah.
after a sprint review, if the stakeholder cancels or rejects the product, does it go back and fixes up its bug and like, comes back again, or we just forget about it and do it from the zero again?
No forgetting. So tomorrow we are demoing it to them, and they said, my expectation was different, or when we demo it, sometimes there might be a scenario where we have a minor bug. So we might have a minor bug that we couldn't fix. So we're gonna say, hey, so we tried our best to finish it, but unfortunately we could not. So look at this one. This one has a bug, right? So this bug, let me see, what is the measure? So this is a measure bug. It's not minor, so I think we have to fix it. So let's say it's a minor bug. So tomorrow we will demo it and say, hey, we were not able to finish this due to the capacity, and however this functionality is working except this minor bug. They would say, hey, just fix that bug in the next release, just move on, let's accept this story. In that case, if they say like, no, I want you to fix it now, they would not accept the story. It will move to the next sprint. That's when it called deferred, and we will cover that later. Guys, Agile is very hard to explain. Trust me, no one can explain Agile in an organized manner. It's a very big topic, and I'm so glad that we are able to cover in 2 days. It's unheard of. It's not possible. You can go ask anyone. You would be spending weeks after weeks after weeks in Agile. So don't feel bad if you did not understand fully. Don't feel bad if you did not understand anything at all. Review this video at least a couple of times. Agile is.
You explain very well. Seriously.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yes, Kadir bhai, you were like, you were explaining very well, and we'll be learning more while we are doing physical demos, right?
You're gonna learn everything when you do it right. Hands-on. It's so easy, and once you're done with that, you're gonna be pro. You get confident. You do this. It's like when you see people driving, you find it really hard. And when you have the license and you start driving, it's easy, right? You can do it with your eyes closed sometimes, right? So it's so easy, but it's hard.
No one drive with your eyes closed. It's just
I said sometimes, I just went.
But I have a question. Like one of the like, what is Scrum of Scrum? But I didn't see on your chart. So is that important, or we don't have to know about that?
I have a lot more than just Scrum of Scrum.
Mhm.
You guys want to sit for another 5 minutes? I was going to end it, but let's continue. I have multiple topics to discuss. 1 second. So since you brought it up, brother, let's talk about it. So Scrum of Scrum, let me show you what is Scrum of Scrum. Scrum of Scrum is when you have multiple Scrum team working in a company, and when that give me 1 second. Okay, so this is tomorrow. Do you see SOS right here?
Yes.
SOS, right? So this is Scrum of Scrum. See how many people are here? 36, 7, 5, 27, close to 100 people.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So which means all the 8 teams that I'm working with, everybody's going to be participating in this call, and every single person will provide statuses. So this is Scrum of Scrum, meaning, so let me show you my team. So these are the teams, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Combine all of the Scrum team is nothing but Scrum of Scrum. Is it clear?
Basically, they work one large project, right?
No. So Scrum is your team only, right? The 7 people working.
Mhm.
And when you have multiple Scrum team, regardless what project they're working. These 8 teams are doing 8 different things, 9 different application, but somehow they're related. Somehow it's under same umbrella, same ownership, same management, same project level people, right? It's under them, right? So they want to get statuses of all team in one meeting. They don't have time to set up 8 different calls to get update from 8 different team, right? They could set up one, and it's good for each one of the teams, right? We know what the next team is doing, right? And whenever we need to use their functionality or whatnot, we can reach out to them, work with them, things in those nature. So when you have multiple Scrum team working together, and when you have a combined meeting, it's called Scrum of Scrum. I think.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's talk about this quickly. There's another terminology in Agile. We talked about sprint, right? Sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, sprint 4, and so on. But there is a 0 sprint concept in Agile. So what is 0 sprint? And I was part of it, and I had no idea. I was part of it in this company. In 0 sprint, they usually do a lot of organizing work, like gathering requirement, explaining the requirement, gathering team, product backlog work, sprint backlog work. It's like sprint 1 is when the work actually starts, but sprint 0 is all the steps you need to start your sprint 1. So in sprint 0, usually you don't have full team. Usually you have managers, leads, and those level people putting the platform together for the sprint 1 team to come and start working.
So is that like iteration 0 in the Agile framework?
Yeah, things in those nature. So they could say what is sprint 0. They may not say iteration 0. So iteration 0 is that, right? Yeah.
So it's basically, Kadir bhai, it's basically preparatory time and the requirements we need to prepare a project, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, but I just wanted to go back a little. So you said Scrum of Scrum is like a meeting that all the Scrums come together and they present their project to the manager. So how often is this meeting?
Every day. So it depends. It varies company to company, but I would think at least 3-4 times. So you are not wrong saying 4 times a week or 3 times a week. Depends on your company. So my company, we're doing it every day, and I propose that we don't do it every day because I want less meetings in my calendar. So I've been trying to encourage a couple of things in my entire company, at least one day where we should not have any meetings at all. We are not allowed to set up any calls in one day. And I'm trying, if I can achieve that in company organized level, it's going to be huge. And I am very close. Another thing I'm trying to encourage everybody, which I cannot do right now, is Scrum of Scrum. We're doing every day. Eventually, I want to encourage them to do 3 times a week or 4 times. So at least less meetings is better. So your daily stand up every day. But when it comes to Scrum of Scrum, it varies. You're okay by saying daily. Nobody's going to say, prove you wrong. You can say 3 times a week, 4 times a week. That's perfectly fine.
Or you can say every two weeks, like my company.
Scrum of Scrum every 2 weeks.
Yeah, every 2 weeks. So there's nothing wrong with saying every day or every 2 weeks. There's nothing wrong.
Please don't say every 2 weeks in Scrum. I don't know what your company is doing. Please don't say that. That would be like every 2 weeks. If every team is meeting, we're going to be in 2 different islands and we won't be able to close the gap. That's why, Agile is so iterative and so connected. You cannot afford to have that kind of gaps. At least a couple of times a week, 3 times, I would think.
So if you're having the Scrum of Scrum meeting, do you still have the daily stand-up meeting as well?
Yes. Daily stand-up, there's no alternative. You have to have it.
Okay.
So we talked about backlog grooming. We talked about Scrum of Scrum. We talked about burn down chart. Let's talk about difference between burn down and burn up chart. So burn up represent completed work in the project. Burn down, how much work is remaining in the project. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. One more thing, guys, for your understanding. If someone says, and in an interview, they could ask you this question: what should we do when the requirements are constantly changing? Your answer should be, we should practice Agile, because in Agile, you can, it's a changing environment, and you can rapidly adapt and change the requirement as per client's need. Any other topic that I did not? No, this is it. Any other questions, concerns?
Kadir bhai,
Yes,
what
brother.
happens when a requirement is constantly changing, right?
Yeah,
And for that, we answered that we should use Agile.
we should practice Agile. We should practice Agile.
As it's easy to be changeable, right?
Yeah, clients,
Or
if
it's
you guys noticed what we covered in waterfall versus Agile, and what in waterfall, you guys seen like clients are not there. They give a project, they come back 6 months later or whatever the time frame they decide, right? They come back and they see their product, they go home and play with it, right? But in Agile, we work with the client. Clients are right there every week, and this is where we do a sprint review meeting. When within that sprint review, if they could change, they could reject certain user story, or right after that 2 weeks, they could make further changes. They could request for it, raise a new requirement. So it's Agile. Everybody loves Agile, and Agile is so flexible and everything. Again, let's end it because it's 10:45. I'll send you guys homeworks. Please take your time to do the homeworks. This is very important topic. If you understand Agile, you are half QA already. If you understand QA, Agile, you understand QA. Trust me, when I explain Agile, I do have headache, and I can understand. I'm in this industry for 10 years. I have headaches when I explain Agile, and I can understand your situation. I guarantee you, you go to any places, this would take 6 weeks, unless they're not covering 100%, and no one is equipped to cover 100% Agile. I know it from my experience. I've been there. I done it. They just went over like a couple of hours, talk about Agile. They themselves do not have proper understanding of each and every part of Agile. It's so much, and we try to cover everything. I don't think I left out anything. I think we covered everything. So what do you guys say?
Yes, brother, you did really go. I really understand a lot of things
Yes,
that
right.
before I don't understand. Right now, I got more clear idea. Thank you.
Absolutely, brother. Okay. One request: by end of next week, at least let me know how many of you are committed. So I need to start buying the tools. As you can see, Jira is one of the tools that I'm communicating with the Jira company itself. I have to buy licenses individually. So let's say it's 40 of you. So I need to buy 40 licenses. Each licenses has different privileges. So we need to know what privileges we need. Same thing with other tools. Faster is better, so we can move on from this phase. And please do the homework. I hope to build the teams starting next week. Because think about it, guys. Now, 40, 50 of you. Now you submit all of this to me. How do you expect me to review all of them and provide you feedback? I do review, but I cannot provide you feedback. But once we have your team manager, your team lead, you're going to be working with them. They will be working with you hand in hand. They will provide you feedback, and they will and we'll organize, we'll be more organized, we'll do other things. Yeah, before I let you go, one other thing, guys, I'm not gonna give you that form to send homework because I need everybody to write this homework in Word documentation and present it in a way it looks good, it's presentable. And let me show you what I mean by that is, give me 1 second, let me share my screen again. Stop. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, so a couple of examples from last batch. Let's say if I'm searching Agile. June, I think this is Ansat. No, not this. Halimbai. Halimbai always has good documentation. Oh man, this is his resume. Agile.
Up by little up.
Who? Up?
Yeah.
Which one? Oh, yeah, right here, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the document created by Halimbai, but I'm looking for a Word document. Let me see from my other brother. What's his name? Tanvir. So this guy also write really good documentations. Agile. Look, so this is a presentation from last batch by Masood Hussain. He's from Bangladesh. Look at the documentation. Look at his cover page, table of contents. I'm not expecting you to do that. I'm just giving you an example. Introduction, answering the questions. What is Agile? Difference between Agile and Waterfall. Why I like Agile. And look at this documentation. So you need to practice this, and why you need to do that when you go into actual environment, you'll be doing a lot of emails back and forth. And if you're not ready, it's going to be a problem. So next, this homework that I'm going to give you, put it in a Word document, try to present it, make it look good. So, it's presentable. That's it.